Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my Learn Spanish mission, and today is week 16. So if you've been following me up to now, I just started speaking last week in my very first time after 3 months of pretty intensive input. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make the most of your italki sessions. If you hadn't seen that yet, I'll leave a link in the description, and you can see there's a lot of grammatical mistakes and stuff like that, but in general we spoke for half an hour or so, and I managed to enjoy my conversation. I had a pretty good time with it. Yeah, we were able to communicate okay, actually surprisingly. I thought it was going to go a lot worse than it did in practice, so it just goes to show that how powerful input actually is, and it can really make your first experience a lot easier compared to if you just tried to speak straight away. Today, how to make the most of your italki sessions. First of all, there's something I want to emphasize real quickly, is that during my lesson is not the time where I learn the most stuff. It's not the driver for my learning. I do that in my own time. Most of where I make my progress, I feel at least, is during my concentrated hour in the morning, and then immersion, flashcards, talking, that's all to kind of supplement that, and they all kind of complement each other in different ways. But for me, at least, the main driver for my progress is input, that hour in the morning plus the immersion time, and then speaking just kind of gives it that other dynamic, it makes it seem more real, more tangible, keeps me motivated, and maybe it raises my awareness for various structures, grammatical structures, words, and then when I come back to my input later, it helps me notice more and keep learning. So that's the first thing, is not the main driver. So what do I actually do during my classes? People say different things. Do you want to take an article to read together in class? Do you want to role play? Do you want to do all these other stuff? Maybe work on your pronunciation? What I like to do in my classes is the only thing you cannot do by yourself, which is have actual conversations about interesting subjects. Maybe not so interesting to begin with, but you can at least try. So if I was to say I wanted to talk about language learning and I didn't know how to say language learning, I'd say, ¿Cómo se dice language learning in Espanol? And you can just, even if you're saying that every other sentence, that's fine, because that's just how you start off. So the main thing for me is to actually use it to practice speaking as much as I possibly can, and just to try and enjoy it. And everything else really comes second, in my opinion, behind communication. So if there's a specific topic you want to talk about, but you're not quite sure how to say a lot of things, and you don't have the vocabulary you need, or maybe you're a bit confused by the grammar, then you can take a list of sentences in English to your teacher and say, how do I say all of these in Spanish, or your target language? Can you translate it for me? And then you have a list of stuff you can actually say, and you can at least attempt to have conversations in these topics. If you're learning a language with a lot of resources like Spanish, then it's heavily advised, if you wanted to talk about a certain topic, you read and listen about that topic as well to raise your awareness. So if I wanted to discuss my work in science with my teacher, then perhaps I could go on Spanish Wikipedia and read about fractional distillation, pressure swing absorption, or something like that. So that's the first thing. And then next, what I want to say is, this is probably more before the actual lesson, but I think it's best to be as specific as you possibly can with your teacher, so they know what you're looking for, and this would help them, it'd help you, and it'd help clear things up before the lesson. So when it actually comes time to speak in the lessons, you can simply just enjoy and make the most of it. So I'm going to show you a quick message I sent to my italki teachers before I started my first Spanish lesson. So here you can see these were the few questions that you had to fill out at the start of the italki, and then it was a section underneath where you could fill out what you were looking for. So I basically said a bit of basic information about me, learning for about 3 months, haven't spoken yet. I'd like to keep the lessons in Spanish as much as possible, and also talking about, if I get anything wrong, can you please write down the sentences for me. Don't like being overcorrected too much. I like to focus more on communication. So this way the teacher, even before the class starts, has a very clear idea of what I want, what my objectives are, and can actually help me, because every person has different learning styles, what they think is the best thing to do. And for a teacher, it can be really, really hard, and you can be doing what you think most students would like. Say a lot of students like focusing on grammar and drills and all that stuff, but I hate it. So the teacher's trying to do their best and help me, but if I don't like that, then it's just wasting their time. So clarity in the start is really, really important. Quickly, I said, is that any new sentences or structures or vocabulary come up, then can you write it down in context? So this is something that my Spanish teacher, one of them, Pablo, gave to me. So you can see He gave lots of example sentences in Spanish, full of new vocabulary in the context of the sentence it was in. So that's really important. And then that way, what I can do if I want to learn, say if I was saying you have, and I kept on saying tengo instead of, that's I have, and if I'm saying that instead of tienes, and I'm getting the wrong one, then I get an example sentence from my lesson, make it into a flashcard and Anki, English on side 1, L2 on side 2, and then you can just practice and activate it and raise your awareness. So then, especially when now I'm listening, I'm much more aware of these sorts of how pronouns affect verbs when I'm doing my input. So that's the main thing for today. Is I basically, in a nutshell, I speak as much as I possibly can, try to enjoy the lesson as much as I can, and any new words and phrases I get my teacher to write down, and I make flashcards on Anki for only the very few that I think is the most important. That's it. That's for today's video. It's quite a short one, so let me know what you guys think. What do you do? And I know, first of all, when you're starting to speak in a new language, it can be really, really intimidating. What if I'm going to make a mistake? What if I'm going to mess up my grammar? What if they're not going to understand me? What if I'm going to look like an idiot? And all these thoughts can come flooding to your head. But I just want to say that this is completely normal, and any teacher knows what it's like to be a student in that position, because they'd have lots of other students like you. Lots of them, especially on italki, have actually been through the process themselves and learned another language. They know exactly what you're feeling and exactly what you're going through. So the main thing is, and I know there's a risk of us falling on deaf ears, but the main thing is to just try and relax and enjoy the conversation as much as you possibly can, and just let it happen organically, and over time and practice, you will get better. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.